And welcome to Eureka Math. This is Module 2, Lesson 24, and we are in the last section of Module 2. So we're getting ready for the test very soon. Today we're still working with division, and I hope that you have mastered long division at this point. Today we're going to start dividing, and instead of using remainders, we're going to use decimals. Today we had a conversation in class about remainders, and basically that remainders are a different unit. Okay, so the example we gave in class was something like 32 ounces, right? And we want to put that into pounds. So 1 pound equals 16 ounces. Remember that? And so 16 into 32 goes exactly twice, right? So that would be 2 pounds. That's what we're doing. We're converting measurements. Now what happens when I have a number like 36, okay? Well, now I have leftover. So 2 times 6 is 12, carry the 1. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. And now my leftover, my remainder, is 4. But these are 2 pounds. But was I able to convert these 4? Because they don't go evenly, so they stay as ounces. Right? They stay as ounces. And what we're going to learn how to do, and not today in lesson 24, today we're going to only divide by multiples of 10 to make it easy on you. But eventually what we're going to do is we're going to add on to our dividends with zeros after the decimal point, so that if I have a number like this, right, I can bring down that extra 0, right? And then I can keep going. So I put that decimal point there, and I put 2 here, and I get 32, and then I have 8, and then I bring down another 0 into the hundreds place, and 8 there, and 16 goes into 80. How many times? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times? 5 times, I think. Yep. 33, 5, 6, 7. Yes. Exactly, right? And I can just keep going until I get that 0, right? That's what I'm looking for at the end, that 0. And my answer then becomes 2 and 25 hundredths, right? And then this is pounds. Okay, so my 25 hundredths is the same as 4 ounces, and we can talk about the fractions and how that works. And 4 out of 16 ounces would be 1/4, and 1/4 is equal to 0.25, right? So all of this is down the road for us. It's in the future. But our first step today, is we're going to get away from remainders. All right, we're going to leave remainders behind, and we're moving into decimals. Okay, so our objective, divide decimal dividends by multiples of 10. Reasoning about the placement of the decimal point and making connections to a written method. We have already done this. Remember when we divided by 10 and multiplied by 10? So let me give you an example. How about 342 divided by 10, right, equals 34 and 2/10. We've already done this, remember? Division, the decimal goes to the left. Multiplication, the decimal goes to the right. So, multiples of 10, it could be 100, it could be 10 squared, it could be 10 to the third. We have done this before. This is not new. We're just reminding you of it in lesson 24 so that you can see we're starting to get into division here. And if I wanted to write this as a long division problem, 342, I would solve it in the same way, right? 10 goes into 3 0 times. 10 goes into 34 3 times, right? And then I would have a 4 here, and I bring down the 2. 10 goes into 42 4 times, right? 4 times 10 is 40, but now what's happening? I have 2, so it would be 34, remainder 2, but I'm going to add a decimal point and a 0, and I'm going to bring that down, and now I can say 2 times 10 is 20, and now I have 0, okay? So we've already done this. You remember doing it. Okay, the answer hasn't changed. Now we're just showing that work with long division. So let's go to our problem set. Divide. Show the division in the right-hand column in 2 steps. The first 2 have been done for you. Okay, so what is going on here? Divide. Show the division in the right-hand column in 2 steps. First 2 have been done for you in 2 steps. Show the division in the right-hand column. Okay, so here is 1 2/10 divided by 6. 6 doesn't go into 1, so that would be 0 ones. 6 will go into 12/10, and it will go into 12/10 2 times. Okay? So actually I can put that 0 in there. 2 times 6 is 12. And my remainder is 0. Okay? So we keep going until we get to the 0 remainder. That's what we're doing. Here, 1.2 divided by 60. Now what they've done is they have taken 1.2 divided by 6 divided by 10. So you already know that 1.2 divided by 6 is 2/10, right here. And then 2/10 divided by 10 makes it 2/100. Let's see this. So would 60 go into 1? No. Would 60 go into 2? No. Would 60 go into 1 20/100? Yes, it would. It would go in 0 here. Nope, nope. Yes, 2 times. 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 6 is 12. And we get our 0. Okay? Are you seeing how this and this are the same? We just add some zeros until it makes sense. So let's try this one. 2 4/10 divided by 4. Well, you know that 24 divided by 4 is 6. So 2 4/10 divided by 4 must be 6/10. Okay, and I can show that to you in long division if you'd like. Right? 4 goes into 2 0 times. 4 goes into 2.4 6/10 6 times, right? And then I have 0. And over here, they have shown us 2.4 divided by 4 and then divided by 10. Because what we're doing is we're taking this and we're breaking it into 4 and 10. Okay? Which equals, right? 2.4 divided by 4 equals 6/10 divided by 10 equals 6/100. All right, let me show you again with the long division. Will 40 go into 2? No. Will 40 go into 24? No. Will 40 go into 240? Yes, 6 times. 6 times 0 is 0. 6 times 4 is 224. And 0 is left over. Okay? Next one. Well, let's see. 7 will go into 4 two times. 14, sorry. And 7 will go into 7/10 one time. So our answer is 2.1, right? 7 goes into 14, 7 goes into 7. And I can show you that here. 7 goes into 1, 0 times. 7 goes into 14 two times. 2 times 7 is 14. Bring down the 0. Then I have to bring down the 7/10. 7 into 7/10 goes one time. 1 times 7 is 7 and 0. Okay? And let's try that over here. So 14 and 7/10 divided by 7 divided by 10. How did I get this 7 and this 10? I broke this up. This 70 I broke up into 7 times 10, right, which is the same. Then I get here, I get 2.1. Ooh, I'm going to sneeze. Ooh, excuse me. And I'm going to bring this over here, divided by 10, equals 21 hundredths. Okay, and let me show you, see if I can write even smaller here. 14 7/10 divided by 70. Well, 70 will go into 1 0 times. 70 will go into 14 0 times. 70 will go into 147 2 times. Okay, 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 7 is 14. Then I have bring down the 7, and I'm going to have to add a hundredth spot there because I still have a leftover. I bring it down. 70 into 70 goes one time. 70 is, and then I get my 0. Okay, so I don't know, what are you thinking? This isn't too hard. It's the same thing we have been doing. We're just going to keep adding zeros until we get the answer that we need, because you can always add a 0 to the right of the decimal. Here we go. 2 into 34 is 18. So we're going to 18 hundredths. And let me prove it to you. 2 goes into 0 0 times. Right, so 0 times 2 is 0. Then bring down the 3. 2 goes into 3 one time. 1 times 2 is 2. Then I have, oops, I'm sorry, 17. Then 2 goes into 14 7 times. 7 times 2 is 14, and 0 left over. Okay? So I'm going through all the same steps. I just have this decimal here. When you're doing long division, the decimal must line up. It must, right? Because it's still place value. Before, we were doing things that had a hundreds place, a tens place, a ones place. And now we're doing things that have a ones place, a tenths place, and a hundredths place. It's still lining up, and you still have to put a number above every place value, okay? So, there we go. Next one, and I'm just going to erase a little bit of this work here. I hope you're drawing a little bit smaller so that it all fits. I just am erasing some things that you can see. Next one, 3.4, or 3 4/10 divided by 20. So, look at that. They moved it on us. 3 4/10 divided by 2 divided by 10. So we took the 20 and we made it 10 and 20, okay? And that's going to give us 1.7 divided by 10 equals 17 hundredths. Now they kind of cheated a little bit here, because in all the previous examples, They've been giving us the same problem and just adding a tenths on. And in this one, they moved the decimal, so you have to be paying attention, okay? And let's do that one in long division so you can see it as well. And I have 20 here. So 20 goes into 3 0 times. 20 goes into 34 1 time. 1 times 20 is 20. And 4, 1. Now I'm going to add another 0 and bring that down. Okay. 20 into 140 is going to fit 7 times. 7 times 0, 7 times 2, and there's my 0. The magical 0 I was looking for. I could just keep going on forever until I get that 0. And that's why if you do math on your calculator, sometimes that number, the decimal, goes on forever. Can you imagine doing that on the board where you're just doing step after step after step after step, right? Okay, here we've got 45 hundredths divided by 9. Well, that's probably going to be, is that right? 5 hundredths? Let's try it. 9 goes into 0 times. 9 goes into 45 5 times. Yep. Okay. Next. Now here they kept the same number and they only added the 0 on the 9, so they didn't change any decimals on this one. This will be 0.45 divided by 9 divided by 10 equals 5 hundredths divided by 10, which equals 5 thousandths. Okay, let's try that. $90 goes into 0 times. Goes into 4 tenths 0 times. Goes into 45 hundredths 0 times. But if we add a 0 here, 90 will go into 450 5 times. 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 9 is 45. Okay, subtract, and there's our 0. Okay. All right, 3 goes into 3 one time, and 3 goes into 45, let's see, 15 times, right? Let's do that, long division. 3 goes into 3 one time. 1 times 3 is 3. There's a 0, bring down the 4. 3 goes into 4 one time. See how my decimals are lining up? Just line them up. 1 times 3 is 3, and then I've got 15, so 5, 15, and 0. Okay? Now, I'm going to take, oh my goodness, look at that. I think I'm going to split that into 3 times 100. And 34 and 5 tenths divided by 3 divided by 100 equals, okay, so 34 and 5 tenths divided by 3, and I'm just going to keep writing underneath it because I'm going to run out of space on this side. So that's 1, 1, 5. So that's 11 and 5 tenths. See where the decimal is? Divided by 100 is going to be divided by 100. And that means the decimal is moving over 2 more times, which is going to be 115 thousandths. So let's show that. 34 and 5 tenths divided by 300. Okay, now this might seem a little daunting to you because we haven't done that, but just look at the numbers. Okay, will 300 fit into 3? No. Will 300 fit into 34? No. Will 300 fit into 345? Yes, one time. 1 times 300 is 300. Then my leftover is 4, 5. I'm going to bring down a 0. Okay, will 300 fit into 450? Yes, 4 times. 4, wait a minute. Sorry, 1 time. I got 300 here. Now I have 1, 5, 0, and I'm going to bring down another 0. And 3 will go into a 1,500 5 times. So 0, 0, 3 times 5 is 15, and there's my 0. Okay? So you can do that in long division, you just have to keep adding zeros. As long as you understand long division, you're good. And these expressions are showing you what we're doing. This is showing you the work. Number 10, use place value reasoning and the first quotient to compute the second quotient. So here's the first quotient. And we're going to use that first quotient to explain what's happening in the second quotient. So here, just like we did up above, I'm going to split this into a 5 and a 10, right? So now I know that this in the parentheses, and I'm just going to write it underneath because that way I kind of like to stack my expressions so you can see the change from one iteration to the next. Okay, so 46 and 5/10 divided by 5 we already know is 9 and 3/10. So I'm just going to put the equal sign below it. 9 and 3/10 divided by 10. Then I'm going to put the equal sign below that. That 10 is going to move the decimal over 1. So now I know that my answer is 93 hundredths. Place value reasoning. Okay. I don't have to do the long division here because that's already been done. I just need to add another 0 there, and that means moving the decimal point over. And you should explain your thinking in words. I'll let you guys do that. Okay. Next one. 51 hundredths divided by 3 equals 17 hundredths. Okay. So below that, here's that 30. I'm going to make that a 3 and a 10. So wonderful. Now I know that this right here is already 17 hundredths, and I don't have to do any more work than that. Now divided by 10, and that means I'm going to move it over 1 more to the left, which means my new answer is 17 thousandths. Next one. All right, you guys pretty good at moving those decimals around? All right. Okay, ooh, look at this one. Now this one has an extra 0 at the top and no 0 at the bottom. So I could say 29. I'm just going to take this backwards, right? 29.4 divided by 7 divided by 10. Well, in order to do that, I'm just going to make it the same thing, right? Except this time I'm going to multiply by 10 to take that out. So my answer here is going to be 0.42 times 10, because multiplying by 10 is going to do the opposite of dividing by 10, and that's going to give us 4 and 2/10. Now, if you don't believe me, let's check our work over here. 29 and 4/10 divided by 7. 7 goes into 29 4 times, right? 4 times 7 is 28. Now I have a decimal here, so 1.4. 7 goes into 14 tenths, 2 times, 2 tenths, right? 2 times 7 is 14, and now we have 0. Okay, there. We did the same thing. Instead of dividing, we multiplied to move the decimal back. Same thing here. Really what they're saying, we're going to split that into 4 and 10. They're saying here is 13, 6 divided by 4 divided by 10 equals 34 hundredths. Okay, so this one is going to be 34 hundredths times 10, right? Because we're moving the decimal place over 1. 3 and 4 tenths. Okay. Number 3. 20 polar bears live at the zoo. That is a lot of polar bears in a small space. I hope that is a gigantic zoo. That's a lot of polar bears. In 4 weeks, they eat 9,732 and 8/10 pounds of food all together. Assuming each bear is fed the same amount of food, how much food is used to feed one bear for a week? Round your answer to the nearest pound. Okay. So, in 4 weeks, they eat this number. So 9,732 and 8/10. Now I could divide that by 4 and figure out what they eat in, all of them eat in 1 week. But then I'm still going to have to take that answer and divide it by 20 to figure out one bear. Okay, so I can either divide by 20 now, or I can divide by 4 now. The choice is yours, because whatever answer you get, you're going to divide by the other number. Okay, so 4 and 20. So what we're really saying is we're going to take this number and divide it by 20, and then whatever that number is, we're going to divide it by 4. Okay, makes sense? You could switch these around if you wanted. You could say divide this number by 4, and then divide the whole number by 20. It doesn't matter either way, but this is the expression, okay? So I'm going to do long division. I'm going to keep this here so you can see it, and I'm just going to go ahead and divide by 4 right away, okay? So 9,732, 8 divided by 4, okay? 4 goes into 9 twice. 2 times 4 is 8. 1, and then bring down the 7. Ooh, I'm going to run out of space so quickly. I think I better write smaller and write up here. 9, 7, 3, 2, 8 divided by 4. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to run out of space immediately because there's lots of steps there, lots of spaces. So 4 into 9, 2. 2 times 4 is 8. Then 1 remaining. There's my decimal point. Oh, I'm sorry, it's not a decimal point. It's a comma. Bring down the 7. Now I've got 17. 4 into 17 will go 4 times. 4 times 4 is 16. So that's 1 remaining. Bring down the 3. 4 will go into 13 3 times. 3 times 4 is 12. 1 remaining. Bring down the 2. 4 will go into 12 3 times. Okay, there's my decimal there, comma. 3 times 4 is 12. And then I have a 0, but I still have more number, right? I'm still going to go into the tenths, which is 8 right there. 4 into 8/10, 2/10, okay? Now, here's this number, wonderful. So that's what this equals. This equals 2,433 and 2/10. Now I'm going to divide that number by 20, which is the same as, and I can split this like this, 2 and 10. So let's do that. 2,433 divided by 2 Okay, you see what I'm doing there? Divided by 10. Okay, so now I'm going to take this number and I'm going to divide by 2. I'm doing it over here so I have more space. Okay, 2 goes into 2001 time. And bring down my 4. 0. 2 goes into 4 2 times. It's 4. That's 0. Bring down the 3. 2 will go into 3 1 time. That's 1. Bring down the other 3. Now I have 13. So 2 will go into that 6 times. 6 times 2 is 12. Then I have 1.2 left over. And 2 will go into 12 tenths 6 times, right? So now this number is 1,216.6 divided by 10. And divided by means that the decimal point is going to go over one space, which means my new answer is 121 and 66 hundredths, okay? So, assuming each bear is fed the same amount of food, how much food is used to feed one bear for a week? Round your answer to the nearest pound. So now we have to round this to the nearest pound, which pound in this instance is the ones place. So I'm going to look at the tenths, which is a 6, which means that this number rounds up, so it's 122 pounds per week. If we wanted to find out how many per day, we would divide that number by 7, right? So there's our answer. A lot of work to get there, but it's a lot of a lot of steps, but it's very easy to understand what you're supposed to be doing. Okay, I think. Number 4, the total weight of 30 bags of flour and 4 bags of sugar is 42.6 kilograms. If each bag of sugar weighs 75 hundredths of a kilogram, what is the weight of each bag of flour? Okay, so we want to figure out what the flour weighs, each bag, 30 bags. And we have mixed into this number 4 bags of sugar. So let's see. What I have here is 4 bags of sugar, right? That's sugar. And 30, I'm just going to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, okay. And this is the flour. And all together, these weigh 42.6 kilograms, okay? I know that sugar, each of these is 75 hundredths of a kilogram. Okay, but I want to know what this weighs, all right? And not the whole thing. I only want to know what that weighs, okay? 1. So how am I going to do this? First of all, I'm going to take this number and I'm going to multiply it by 4. So you can do that. 4 times 5 is 20, carry the 2. 4 times 7 is 14, 28, 29, 30. Okay, put my decimal back in. So these 4 together equal 3 kilograms. Okay, so I'm going to cut that off. So 42 minus 3, And I put that extra 0 on there because 3 ones, and when you're adding and subtracting decimals, they need to line up. So 6 minus 0 is 6, and 42 minus 3 is 39. Okay. Now, that is a nice number because it's all multiples of 3. I'm not sure if you noticed. So now I have this section is 39.6 kilograms, and I want to know what one of those is. So I'm going to take my 39.6 and I'm going to divide it by 30. Okay? Now, if that makes you uncomfortable, that 30, we can 39.6 divided by 3 divided by 10. Is that a little bit better? Okay. So now 3 goes into 3 one time, 3 goes into 9 3 times, 3 goes into 6 2 times. Okay, so that's that answer. But I still have to divide that by 10, which means 1.32 kilograms per bag of flour. And that's our answer. All right, if you want to see this as long division, I'm going to show that to you right now. And I'm going to use a different color, and you don't have to have this on your paper, but I want you to see what's happening here. We had 39 and 6/10 divided by 30. 30 goes into 3 0 times. 30 goes into 39 one time. 1 times 30 is 30. Then I'm going to bring down this 9 and this 6. And now I have 96/10, right? So 30 goes into 96/10 3 times, right? 3 times 0 is 0. 3 times 3 is 9. And now I have 6/100. I'm going to add a 0 here so I can bring that 0 down. Now I have 60/100. And 30 will go into 60/100 2 times. All right, 1 and 32 kilograms, right? That's what we did right there. Okie dokie, good. Yes, decimals. You're gonna love it, dividing with decimals. Have a great day, everyone.